So like ages ago, there was a time where I planned to record the Bravoman video game on TurboGrafx while simultaneously analyzing the animated series and comic. However, this potential Bravoman Let's Play never actually made it past the conception phase. It never got a test video. And this is primarily because the Bravoman video game is absurdly difficult, which is a shame because I really cared a lot about the Bravoman webcomic. I actually really quite enjoyed that. So, the core idea behind Bravoman is that he can stretch. He's very stretchy, so he can attack enemies almost all the way across the screen. Which may seem a little overpowered, but this is actually the least they could do. Because you may have noticed that Bravoman's sprite is rather large. He's also one of the least agile platforming protagonists I have ever seen. Evading attacks with Bravoman is very, very difficult because of his large size and his incredibly wonky jump arc and the fact that he needs to stand still to hit anything. The game starts off simple enough, but soon it becomes pure trial and error memorization. And I can't stand behind that unless the game attempts to be rhythmic or reward the player for memorizing it in some inherent fashion. But the only reward for memorizing Bravoman is just beating Bravoman. There's no sense of rhythm or satisfaction in memorizing the stages, you just have to memorize the stages to win. So I wouldn't exactly call it a good game, no. But it did inspire one of my favorite webcomics. This is one of those games where you have to constantly be afraid of what's just off the edge of the screen, and it doesn't feel like the game design was very well tailored to Bravoman specifically. It's a long game for its genre, too. People might not think an hour of gameplay is very long, but when it's a game like this, that's a long time. An hour of gameplay is a lot to memorize. But Bravoman does have one other gimmick up his sleeve besides being really stretchy, which is good because the stretchiness is basically just a projectile, and you have to stand still while using it, or hover still if you're attacking in the air, which, as you might imagine, severely limits its utility, making the whole game feel rather sluggish. Here's the first boss. I'm not sure what to say about the first boss. Hitting an enemy like this and having its parts bounce around the screen would be a lot more entertaining and a lot more enjoyable in a game where the sprites weren't so enormous. At the end of the stage we get some health back, but again I feel like this is the least they could do in this situation. So this is Bravoman's other main gimmick that I was referring to. He can transform, which changes the style of gameplay. This was mostly used for comedic effect in the webcomic. But yeah, Bravoman can transform in addition to being stretchy. So we can play a completely average side-scrolling shooter section where the sprites are still way too big. Way too big. On the bright side, in the side-scrolling shooter segment, we can move while firing. I can't imagine how a side-scrolling shooter would work if you couldn't move while firing, but at least we can do that here. But yeah, I don't really have anything positive to say about Bravoman. It seems incredibly uncreative. The game design is generic. And I gave this more of a chance than most 2D platformers because a webcomic I really like was based on it, but I couldn't find anything special about it. If your experience differs in some way, let me know, but I think very few people have actually played this game. Anyway, that's Bravoman.